We're going to analyze our data. So what we do is we actually go to Logger Pro and we copy our time and our Y position data. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet and I'm going to paste that data right here. Okay? And I'm going to put some titles on it. So this was time in seconds, and this was the distance that it fell in meters. Okay? And the first thing we want to do is take a quick peek at our data. So I'm going to highlight my data, and if I go to Insert, Chart, I'll get a quick peek at my data. I'm going to go to Scatter Plot here. And there it is. It looks like a parabola. So we know that if we get a parabola, we have to transform our data. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. So what I really need instead of time and distance is time squared and distance, since y equals x squared for a parabola. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to highlight this data here, hit Control-C to copy it. I'm going to go over here and paste it, and I want to get rid of x, which is the time, and I need x squared. Okay? So first of all, I'm going to change my title. This is going to be time squared, and that's going to be in seconds squared. And now I've got to take each of these values here, square them, and put them there. And there's an easy way to do that. You can write a formula. So right here, I'm going to type equals, and I'm going to click on this cell. So this cell is B13. Yours might be something different, but it says B13, and I'm going to raise that to the power of 2. So if you hit Shift 6, you get the little caret thing. That's this little pointy thing. And then a power of 2 squares it. If I go back to it now on that formula, so its value is 0, but you can see up here it's actually B13 squared. If I grab this bottom corner here and drag it down, it'll copy the formula, and it'll actually square all the values from here and put them over here. Okay, so now what I have is time squared in the distance, and this is what I'm going to try to use to find my math model. So I highlight my data again. I go to Insert, Chart. Google never guesses right, so you got to go from chart type to line, from line to scatter plot. And there you have it. It's a nice straight line. We want to find the math model. So to do that, I'm going to go to Customize, go to Series, and down under Trend Line, that will add a straight line. I need the equation of that line, though. So I keep going down, and where it says Label, I say Use Equation. So you can see right here, it tells me the slope is negative 5.1. And the intercept is pretty darn close to 0, so I'm going to call it 0. The problem is we can't use that. It's not a proper math model. So the slope is negative 5.1. So back over here on Label, instead of using equation, I'm going to go to Custom, and I'm just going to write the equation of the line. It's like y equals mx plus b, except I don't use y. So I'll do this. Y equals mx plus b. So instead of y, we have distance. I'll use d. The slope, instead of m, it's negative 5.1 times, and instead of x, we had t, the time, squared. That's what we plotted on our x-axis. And our intercept is close enough to 0, I'm going to ignore it. So my math model shows up right here. That's my math model. Okay? If I go down to Legend, I can tell it to put the position on the inside, so it moves it inside my grid there. And since that's so important, I'm going to make it bigger. So here we go. Here's my math model. The distance the ball falls is negative 5.1 times the time it's been falling squared. All right? So that's your math model. So we are finished with the graph. We have time squared. We have units. We have distance here in meters. We need to finish the title. So if you go to Chart Title, we need to say the relationship between whatever's on our y-axis, so distance and time squared for a falling golf ball. That's the context. So there's my title. I'm going to leave it up to you to make a subtitle. It needs your name, the date, the period, and the assignment. That puts the subtitle on there. And then you're finished with the graph. You need to do the math model, so just retype the math model from down here. D equals negative 5.1 times t squared. And the conclusion is words. We use this in English. So we would say the distance a ball falls is proportional to the time squared that it has been falling. Okay? And then put your math model in there. And then just go down to the checklist down here and just make sure you got all the things. Okay? You can put X's in as you got them. And that's all you got to do to find the math model for this lab. All right?